And so that was our first introduction to that.
But you're still clearly having a
great.
good time, Gladys.
For more than 7 decades, Gladys Knight has stood in the spotlight with grace, strength, and a voice that seemed impossible to break. But the woman behind that voice lived through far more than fans ever saw. There were broken marriages, painful family battles, private addictions, shocking losses, and choices that left even those closest to her asking questions. Through it all, Gladys kept singing, smiling, and protecting parts of her life from the public. But in her later years, one family dispute pulled those hidden tensions into the open and changed the peaceful image surrounding her. Join us as we uncover the love, heartbreak, secrets, and controversies behind the Empress of Soul, and reveal why her story is far darker and more complicated than it ever appeared. The 8-year-old who stunned America. Gladys Maria Knight entered the world in Atlanta, Georgia on May 28, 1944. Her mother, Sarah Elizabeth Woods, worked as a nurse's aide. Her father, Merrill Woodlow Knight Sr., was a postal worker. Music was already part of the home because both parents sang in church and in a local choir group. Gladys grew up with her sister Brenda and her brothers Merrill, known as Bubba, and David, called Billy. The family raised her as a Baptist, and she began singing gospel at Mount Moriah Baptist Church when she was only 4. Even then, her voice stood out. At 8, she entered Ted Mack's The Original Amateur Hour and won by singing Nat King Cole's Too Young. That victory could have remained a sweet childhood memory, but a broken record player soon changed everything. During Bubba's 10th birthday party, the machine stopped working, so Gladys, Bubba, Brenda, and their cousins Eleanor and William Guest began singing together. Their performance impressed the family, and Gladys's mother encouraged them to form a real group. They chose the name The Pips, inspired by the nickname of their cousin and early manager, James Pip Woods. The children started singing wherever they could. They appeared at churches, talent shows, and clubs, sometimes opening for better-known performers. Their childhood was slowly becoming a working life. They were not protected by age once adults began booking shows and discussing records. Each appearance asked them to behave like professionals, even while they were still learning lessons, attending classes, and depending on their parents at every new stop. Gladys still attended school, first at the historic Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, then at Archer High School, where she graduated. Yet ordinary teenage life was already slipping away. By the time many young people were only thinking about their future, she was rehearsing, traveling, recording, and helping carry a family act. The voice that had first filled a church was now moving toward record studios. But before fame could fully arrive, love, marriage, and motherhood would force her to make an adult choice much sooner than anyone expected. Fame arrived just as her marriage fell apart. The Pips signed with Brunswick Records in 1957, when Gladys was still very young. Their first singles did not chart, and the lineup soon changed. Brenda Knight and Eleanor Guest left, while cousin Edward Patton and non-relative Langston George joined. That version of the group recorded Every Beat of My Heart, their first major hit. By 16, Gladys had recorded 5 songs and appeared on the group's first album, released in 1960. The single was released on 3 different labels, and in 1961, the act became Gladys Knight and the Pips. Langston left that same year, creating the quartet that would later become famous. But Gladys's personal life was changing even faster. In 1960, at 16, she married her Atlanta high school sweetheart, musician James "Jimmy" Newman. She later described him as the love of her life, even though he was still a struggling musician. Their first pregnancy ended in miscarriage. Their son, James Gaston Newman III, arrived on August 13, 1962, followed by their daughter, Kenya Maria Newman, in 1963. Gladys stepped away from touring because being a wife and mother was seen as the natural choice. She later explained that women were not considered liberated then, and she truly did want family life. The Pips continued working without her, while she stayed in Georgia. Soon, financial pressure pulled her back toward music. The family and group moved to Detroit, living in Sherwood Forest on the city's west side. Jimmy became the group's musical director, and Gladys returned in 1964. On stage, the family looked united. At home, trouble was growing. Jimmy became addicted to drugs and eventually left Gladys with 2 small children when she was only 20. They stayed legally married for more than 12 years, but they were separated for 7 of them before divorcing in 1973. He died a few years later. Gladys had already learned that success could not protect a home from addiction or abandonment. She had returned to the stage because her family needed money, but that decision also reopened the door to a career much larger than anyone around her could yet see. The Motown rivalry nobody expected. By 1966, Gladys Knight and the Pips had only 3 established hits: Every Beat of My Heart, Giving Up, and Letter Full of Tears. That was enough to earn a place at Motown Records, but not enough to make the label treat them like its biggest stars. At first, they were seen as a second-string act. They often opened for Diana Ross and the Supremes, while Motown placed greater attention on performers already positioned at the center of its image. Gladys, however, was difficult to ignore once she began singing. In her memoir, she said Ross had the group removed from a tour because audiences responded so strongly to Gladys's soulful performances. Berry Gordy later told her that she was giving his act a hard time. Whatever happened behind the scenes, the record showed that the Pips belonged near the top. Their version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine reached number 1 in 1967, before Marvin Gaye released his famous version. More hits followed, including The Nitty Gritty, Friendship Train, If I Were Your Woman, I Don't Want to Do Wrong, and Daddy Could Swear. Then came Neither One of Us, which won a Grammy and captured the pain of a relationship ending before either person wanted to say goodbye. The song fit a group whose music often sounded polished while carrying deep hurt underneath. Still, Motown did not become their permanent home. In 1973, they left for a better deal with Buddha Records, and the move quickly changed their level of mainstream success. Midnight Train to Georgia reached number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts and won another Grammy. I've Got to Use My Imagination, The Way We Were, Try to Remember, and Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me followed. Europe embraced them too, especially the United Kingdom, where Midnight Train to Georgia reached the top 5 in 1976, 3 years after its American success. The group had finally escaped the second-string label. Yet, while the music was reaching new heights, Gladys was entering another marriage that would bring a different kind of battle. The marriage that ended in $1 million search. In 1974, Gladys married Barry Hankerson in Detroit. He worked as an executive aide to Detroit Mayor Coleman Young and later became known as the founder of Blackground Records. Their son, Shanga Ali Hankerson, was born on August 1, 1976. Around 1977, the family moved to Las Vegas. The marriage lasted only 4 years, but the fight that followed lasted much longer in Gladys's memory. When the relationship ended in 1979, she and Barry became locked in a painful custody battle over Shanga. Gladys later said she spent more than $1 million searching for her son after he was kidnapped. The custody fight also showed how quickly a private breakup could become a costly public family crisis. While her private life was becoming more difficult, her work kept expanding. In 1974, Gladys Knight and the Pips recorded the soundtrack for the film Claudine with Curtis Mayfield. It included On and On, The Makings of You, and Make Yours a Happy Home. In 1975, the group received its own variety program, The Gladys Knight and the Pips Show, but it ended after only 4 episodes. A year later, Gladys made her film debut as the lead in Pipe Dreams. Her performance earned a Golden Globe nomination for New Star of the Year, Actress. That recognition showed she could carry more than a song, even if acting never replaced music as her main path. By the late 1970s, legal problems forced Gladys and the Pips to record separately. She released Miss Gladys Knight in 1978 and Gladys Knight in 1979, giving the public an early look at her as a solo performer. The separation was not yet the end of the group, but it showed that the future could look different. Her marriage had ended, her son was at the center of a custody fight, and her professional family was also being pulled apart by legal issues. Then, just as it seemed the familiar quartet might fade away, a new record deal brought them back together and gave Gladys another chance to prove that her story was far from finished. The hit that became their final goodbye. In 1980, Gladys Knight and the Pips signed with Columbia Records and returned to their familiar quartet form. Johnny Mathis invited Gladys to record 2 duets that year, When a Child is Born and The Lord's Prayer. The group then worked with former Motown writers and producers Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson on About Love, which included Landlord and Touch in 1981. Their sound continued to change with the times. In 1983, Save the Overtime, For Me, reached #1 on the R&B chart. It was their first R&B #1 since 1974, and its video became one of the early R&B videos to include parts of hip-hop culture. The Visions album also produced Your #1, In My Book. Gladys remained part of major musical moments beyond the group. In 1985, while still a Pip, she joined Dionne Warwick, Stevie Wonder, and Elton John on the AIDS benefit single, That's What Friends Are For. The song reached #1 and won a Grammy. In 1986, she shared the stage with Warwick and Patti LaBelle for the HBO special Sisters in the Name of Love, which she also helped produce. The program earned 3 ACE Awards for performance and received more nominations. By 1987, Gladys had decided to pursue a solo career. She and the Pips recorded one last album, All Our Love. Its lead single, Love Overboard, became a #1 R&B hit and won the group another Grammy. They completed a successful tour in 1988, then the Pips retired. The split was described as friendly, and the group disbanded in 1989. That same year, they entered the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. Gladys immediately moved forward, recording License to Kill for the James Bond film. The song reached the top 10 in the United Kingdom and Germany. After more than 3 decades beside the Pips, she was finally standing alone. But the hardest test of her solo years would not come from the charts. It would come from a private habit, a brief third marriage, and then a loss no mother could prepare for. Behind her solo success was a dangerous addiction. Before Gladys's solo career found its strongest footing, gambling had already taken hold. The addiction lasted more than a decade and began after a friend invited her to play blackjack while she was performing at a casino. The excitement made her believe she could keep winning. In the late 1980s, she lost $60,000 in one night at baccarat. Her real wake-up call came after she stayed at a table until morning and suddenly remembered she should have been home preparing her son for school. Feeling sick, she walked to a telephone and called Gamblers Anonymous. The woman who answered asked where she was and said, "We will come get you." They did. Gladys later credited the program and her faith for helping her stop. Then, in 1991, her solo career gained real strength with Good Woman. The album reached #1 on the R&B album chart and became her highest placement on the main Billboard album chart. Men reached #2 on the R&B chart, while Superwoman, recorded with Dionne Warwick and Patti LaBelle, earned a Grammy nomination. That year, she also sang the national anthem at Game 1 of the World Series. Her 1994 album, Just For You, went gold and received a Grammy nomination for Best R&B Album. I Don't Want to Know and her version of End of the Road helped connect her to a new generation. She also received an honorary doctorate from Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was another sign that her influence now reached far beyond record sales, chart positions, and stage applause. Her romantic life, however, remained unsettled. In 1995, she married motivational speaker Les Brown, but they divorced in 1997. That same year, after being raised Baptist and later becoming Catholic, she was baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Her children's changed lives had inspired her, and her son James, who held the priesthood, performed the baptism. Faith brought them closer, but as James took on a larger role in her career, Gladys was moving toward the loss that would cut deepest. The son she lost, just as life was changing. James Gaston Newman III had grown from the baby whose birth paused Gladys's early career into one of the people guiding it. He lived near his mother in Las Vegas and helped her through the years when gambling had become dangerous. Through Newman Management, he handled her career from offices shared by several night-related companies in southern Nevada. In 1999, he helped launch Many Roads, a label created to support gospel performers, and Gladys's album, Many Different Roads. Album materials said he brought several songs to her attention, including Jesus' Love is Like a River. His influence reached beyond business. He had stood close during her gambling recovery, supported the faith now shaping her life, and helped her turn that renewed purpose toward gospel music and other artists. He was also a husband to Micheline and a father to 5 children: Nastasia, Gabrielle, Rishon, Stephan, and Sterling. Then on July 10, 1999, James died from heart failure at his home in Las Vegas. He was only 36. His death struck both Gladys's home and career because he was her eldest child and her manager. Kenya Jackson later took over management. Kenya had studied at Bishop Gorman High School, worked in marketing, followed her love of baking, and opened a cake business in Las Vegas in 1997. Gladys kept recording through the grief and at last earned her first solo Grammy for Best Traditional R&B Album in 2000. A new personal chapter opened in 2001 when she married former corporate consultant William McDowell in a private California ceremony. That August, another loss arrived when Aaliyah, Gladys's niece by marriage through Barry Hankerson's family, died at 22 in a plane crash. Gladys said she had watched Aaliyah grow up, recognized her special gift early, and remembered her performing in Las Vegas while still young. Even after divorcing Barry, she had remained close to Aaliyah and her family. She said Aaliyah had a refreshing outlook, respected her art and elders, and possessed the spark the world later loved deeply. Happiness and grief had arrived almost together, and William was now beside her. Faith, family, and a very different marriage. William had grown up near Asheville, North Carolina, in the town of Canton. After marrying Gladys, he became involved in her music and supported her career on the road. The couple later settled in Fairview, North Carolina, near a former high school in Canton that they owned as a community center. Between them, they had 17 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Their creative partnership became public when Gladys performed "This Is Our Time" at the opening ceremony of the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. The song also appeared on the official commemorative album. Faith was becoming just as visible in her work. Gladys created and directed Saints Unified Voices, a choir connected to her church. She had once teased church president Gordon B. Hinckley that their music needed more pep. He agreed, and the conversation helped inspire the choir. Saints Unified Voices later released the Grammy-winning album One Voice and performed at church gatherings. Gladys also remained busy outside gospel music. In 2003, she appeared in Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett. In 2004, she joined Divas Live with Patti LaBelle, Cyndi Lauper, Ashanti, Jessica Simpson, Joss Stone, and Debbie Harry to support music education. A duet with Ray Charles appeared on Genius and Friends in 2005. That year also brought a painful goodbye when Pip Edward Patton died from complications of diabetes after both legs had been amputated. In 2006, the group entered the Apollo Theater Hall of Fame, adding to its Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, Lifetime Achievement Award, and Vocal Group Hall of Fame entry. Langston George died from congestive heart failure in 2007. In 2008, Gladys joined Chaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, and Diana Ross at a benefit for heart research, then appeared with Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., and Ben Stiller on American Idol to raise money for charity. Her life now moved between family, faith, acting, old friends, and new stages. But as television introduced her to younger audiences, another farewell would prove far less final than it first appeared. Farewell tours that never really ended. In 2009, Gladys appeared in Tyler Perry's film I Can Do Bad All By Myself and performed The Need to Be, a song she had first recorded in the 1970s. That same year, she sang His Eye Is on the Sparrow and The Lord's Prayer at Michael Jackson's funeral. In October, she began what was promoted as a farewell tour of the United Kingdom. Tito Jackson appeared as her supporting act, while Dionne Warwick made special appearances. The production was larger than her earlier British concerts, with stage screens, animation, and a glossy program. Gladys promoted it on Later with Jules Holland, performing If I Were Your Woman and Help Me Make It Through the Night. Yet the word farewell would not last. In 2011, she released an updated recording of I Who Have Nothing, a song long linked to Shirley Bassey. Television also kept finding new ways to use her. In 2012, Gladys joined season 14 of Dancing with the Stars with Tristan McManus. They were eliminated during Motown Week after losing a dance duel to Roshan Fegan and Chelsea Hightower. That year, she also began a recurring role in The First Family. In 2013, she recorded You and I Ain't Nothing No More, written and produced by Lenny Kravitz for The Butler. Where My Heart Belongs followed in 2014 and became her 30th top 40 R&B album when her work with the Pips was counted. During a 2014 interview, she spoke about women in entertainment and said it saddened her to see performers selling sex. Gladys said she had been taught to dress respectfully for audiences, not take it off, put it on. In 2015, William Guest, her cousin and a founding Pip, died from congestive heart failure at 74. His daughter Monique said her heart was broken, but she believed his legacy would live on. 2 years earlier, he had published an autobiography about his journey. Gladys kept touring, but another family story was about to turn her name into evidence in court. When Gladys took her own son to court. The restaurant story had begun in 1997 when Shanga Hankerson opened a chicken and waffles business in Atlanta using his mother's famous name. The chain grew to 3 locations and became known for menu items linked to her music, including the Midnight Train. Gladys allowed the restaurants to use her name, image, recipes, and memorabilia through licensing arrangements, but she said she did not control daily operations. Gladys said the original contract had expired, but she had allowed oral extensions as long as the businesses did nothing reckless that could damage her reputation or public trust in her name. In June 2016, Georgia authorities raided 2 restaurants and the company headquarters. Shanga was arrested on 2 felony theft charges. Investigators accused him of failing to turn over $650,000 in sales and withholding taxes. With penalties and interest, the amount passed $1 million. Officials made clear that the investigation involved Shanga, not Gladys or the restaurant employees. After the scandal, Gladys ended permission to use her identity and sued her son and his companies for unfair competition. She argued that keeping her name on the restaurants falsely suggested she still supported them. She also demanded the return of her memorabilia. The dispute became uglier when Shanga did not answer the lawsuit on time, and Gladys received a default victory. His side then argued that she lacked the mental ability to make the decision. Reports said his lawyer threatened to release claims that she had Alzheimer's unless more time was granted. Gladys denied having dementia and said the claims were meant to embarrass and harass her. The parties settled in January 2017 on terms that were not made public, and her name was removed from the business. That year, Gladys helped raise $400,000 for the Children's Learning Centers of Fairfield County, and the Pips entered the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. In 2018, she led the B1 Choir in Salt Lake City and played Ella Grover on Hawaii 5-0. The restaurant signs had changed, but another national controversy was already waiting for Gladys. Her biggest stage became a national controversy. In 2019, Gladys accepted an invitation to sing the national anthem at Super Bowl LURD in Atlanta. The choice brought immediate criticism because former quarterback Colin Kaepernick had protested police violence and racial injustice by kneeling during the anthem, and many believed the NFL had pushed him out. Some fans asked why Gladys would support the event when other artists had reportedly refused. Others defended her and questioned people who criticized her while still planning to watch. Gladys said she understood Kaepernick's reasons, but believed the anthem and the fight for justice should stand separately. She wanted to give the anthem back its voice and hoped her performance would bring people together. She also pointed to her own long fight against inequality, from walking through back hallways to marching with civil rights leaders. Later that year, viewers discovered she was the bee on The Masked Singer. She placed third behind Donny Osmond and T-Pain after performing songs including Chandelier, Wrecking Ball, and I Can't Make You Love Me. In 2021, Shanga pleaded guilty to willfully failing to send payroll taxes from the restaurants to the government. He received 2 years in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and an order to pay more than $1 million in restitution. That year, William published The One and released Perfect Vision 2020. He and Gladys also made a video for his song Country Water. In 2022, Gladys received the Kennedy Center Honors presented by President Joe Biden and headlined a United States-Africa Leaders Summit dinner at the White House. A farewell tour of Australia and New Zealand was announced for March 2024. Then, in March 2025, illness forced a sudden pause. Gladys and a staff member became sick backstage before a Jacksonville concert. Emergency workers treated her, and her spokesperson later said she had the flu and was returning home to rest. The theater president said she was smiling and in good spirits when she left following backstage treatment. A Tampa performance was postponed. She reportedly improved quickly, but her health was about to become part of a much more serious family argument. The truth about her marriage became a family war. By 2025, Gladys and William had been married for more than 2 decades, far longer than any of her earlier marriages. They had supported each other at public events, worked together, and often spoke about the faith holding their home together. In 2022, Gladys said they placed God first and looked upward whenever they faced a problem they could not solve. That peaceful picture changed when Shanga accused William of mental and financial abuse and claimed his mother's touring schedule was harming her. He said that in 2024, she sometimes zoned out and needed teleprompters rewound because she forgot to look at them. He also alleged that she once failed to recognize him for 45 minutes and, on another occasion, wandered away from a hotel and ended up across town. Shanga said he had filed a complaint with North Carolina authorities and wanted his mother to stop working. Gladys answered by saying her health and performances had been misrepresented. "I'm healthy and happy," she told fans, adding that she had been visiting friends and family and looked forward to returning to the Queen's Tour with Chaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, and Stephanie Mills. Her publicist, Laura Herlovich, called Shanga's claims unfounded and said he had not had substantial contact with Gladys. She also said lawyers were considering legal action over his comments. Shanga rejected that account, claimed he had been kept from normal access to his mother, and challenged her team to provide reliable medical evidence. He insisted the fight was not about money and said he wanted to care for her himself. William did not answer the accusations in detail and allowed Gladys's statement to speak for him. North Carolina officials said complaints were confidential and would not confirm whether an investigation was underway. An outside civil lawyer explained that authorities would need their own medical experts to decide whether any decline existed. But with Gladys defending her health and marriage while her son continued raising serious concerns, the private struggle surrounding her later years had now moved fully into public view. Do you think Gladys's own words should settle the concerns about her health? Or do her son's claims still leave serious questions? And when a family believes an older star may be pushed too hard, should they speak publicly or handle everything behind closed doors? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.